evening, everyone. My name is Boyet Benavides, a registered financial consultant, a financial planning advocate, and a certified trust professional. Welcome, everyone, to the fourth and last episode of the RFC Tuesday podcast Season 8 International Series. Let us thank IARFC PH, the Philippine chapter of the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants, for putting together this podcast. The IARFC PH is an association dedicated to the craft of financial consulting. The association is the sole organization authorized to conduct the RFC conversion courses as well as continuing education in the field of financial consulting. As mentioned earlier in our previous episodes, Season 8 is our international series in partnership with the IARFC Home Office with the superb support of IARFC Public Relations Officer, Ms. Susan Capa. Our guest tonight is the co-founder of the Insurance Pro Shop and the Found Money Management Strategies. His mission is to impart sound and proven strategies that enable professionals to identify, secure appointments with, and successfully close sales with ideal prospects. Jeremy entered the insurance industry in 1994 at the age of 17. Now, entering his mid-40s, he has 29 years of experience in the financial services industry as a regional general agent, recruiter, author, speaker, trainer, consultant, coach, and mentor. Throughout his career, our guest has been instrumental in helping thousands of agents achieve remarkable growth, consistently doubling or even tripling their earnings. His unique perspectives provide valuable insights into how professionals can genuinely assist their clients. With his guidance, insurance industry professionals can enhance their practice, deepen client relationships, and truly make a difference in the lives of those they serve. As a regional general agent, he has also qualified for numerous sales conventions and awards from Aviva Live. Of the agents he coached in 2023, he has produced 3 top-of-the-table producers, 1 court of the table, and more than 10 MDRT member qualifiers. Ending our Season 8 with a big bang, join me in welcoming Jeremy Nason, RFC, Senior Financial Services Leader. Good evening, Jeremy. Thank you for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate spending time with the RFC, so not just in the Philippines, but all over the world. Probably just to start the ball rolling, how did you get started in the financial services industry?
Great question. I got started the business, back in 1994, working for my dad. I was actually one of his clerical people starting in his agency that he was running. And I never wanted to get into sales initially. I wanted to be a teacher of sorts. So getting into the business, I kind of kicked and screamed reluctantly, got in and learned how to sell. Stumbled around for the first few years till I got my feet wet and really just started listening to him after a while and just following his lead of him being able to really help clients in a unique way.
How young were you when you started?
Well, in 94, I would have been 17, but I actually got started when I was 6 or 7. I ran my first sales call with my dad and helping him watch the children in the appointments. But yeah, so 6 or 7, 8, somewhere in that range. So I pretty much, I'm 47 now. So the majority of my life I've spent in and around clients, agents, agencies, and in the insurance industry altogether.
Mm-hmm. Seems like you basically grew with your dad in his insurance practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what type of dynamics developed between you and your dad when over the years, as I guess he was just starting off with his practice and expanding it, and now you have taken over, and I believe you're other family members have also started to join in.
Yeah, the dynamics were tough initially. Working for your family has its own set of different rules, and roles and so forth. So the dynamics were a little difficult getting started, but now, 30 years into it, he just retired last year. So we've been doing this for a long time, but the dynamics were tough. They were, it was very difficult being able to separate work and personal issues. And when we had other family members working with us, my brothers and sisters, my brother and his wife work with us, my wife work with us. So we've had a lot of family involved in the business for the last 30 years. So it's always been a family affair, but a lot of difficulties when you have lots of personalities and lots of family and emotions drawn into it. It does get tough. Yeah. But now, it's gotten easier. I got it down to a science now, how to work with family. And I actually hired my daughter to come in and have the next generation moving forward.
But how did you develop that skill in like separating family matters from work matters? And I guess it's different coaching or training family members versus somebody who's hired from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, working with family is awesome. In a lot of ways, it is the best thing because you already know these people, you already trust these people. So when you give them tasks, they can carry it out to pretty good effectiveness. But learning how to separate the two pieces, it took time, and you have to work with each individual person, family member, to let them know when you enter the business, when that door closes behind you, it's work. We have to leave the family dynamics outside of work, whether there's conflicts or non-conflicts, drama has to stay out so we can focus that 8, 9 hour, 10-hour day working on the business, working in the business, not just worrying about we're not going to hurt each other's feelings. If I yell at somebody because I get angry about you messing up this task, I don't want you to take that home and say, hey, he's mad at me for something I did outside of work. And that's not the case. It's those dynamics, those kind of setting those boundaries, expectations, as soon as you hire them.
So as you were developing your practice with your family, like what sales skills do you emphasize to them so that they will be effective in their tasks?
So there's two we really focus a lot on. One is learning how to ask the emotional questions. Beyond just telling prospects, telling clients, telling each other what to do. When you learn to ask the emotional questions, you can bring out the problem. You can bring out their thought process to help them develop their own solution rather than me telling them the solution. So that's one we work on throughout our entire practice, from working with clients to working with family to dealing with our spouses. When you can learn that technique of asking the right questions, asking the emotional questions, drilling down on the problem, helping them see where the issue is, and helping them be able to solve it, it creates a whole different dynamic in a relationship, in a sales process, presentation, and so forth. The other thing we teach is basic marketing. Is really how to build your brand, how to give. How to get your name out in the mainstream around your prospects, build your expertise, and really just how to do it the right way without spending thousands of dollars on leads, on these really expensive marketing techniques. There's low cost ways you can do it to build your practice without spending a ton of money. All right.
You were talking about like reaching to the emotional aspect of the client's needs. How do you reach out to the client, and how do you encourage or bring the client from normally they'd be like very stern, very straightforward, to discussing with you their innermost thoughts, their emotions, their aspirations, or even frustrations, right? Because that would make the advisor effective in providing the solution.
Absolutely. So some of the questions we try to ask, because again, is looking at the overall picture of the client situation. So if we're looking at, for example, a life insurance opportunity, okay, and we all can ask, how much insurance do you have? Those kind of basic questions, the more hard fact questions. It's the soft facts that go along with that. So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if your husband didn't make it home tomorrow, how is that going to affect you and the children? What's your plan to move forward financially if he's not here to support you? What would you like to see happen? How do you feel about that? Drilling down on the emotion, peeling the onion back so they can see where the pain point is. Who would that affect? The who, what, where, when, how, and why questions that are not just product specific or investment specific, but more drilling down on the emotional side of it. Kind of finding that emotion, that pain, the greed, the fear, and really tapping into that. If you really think about it, if my spouse didn't make it home tomorrow, how's that going to affect me? How would that affect you if your spouse didn't make it home tomorrow? What kind of change in the personal situation would you have income-wise? Would you have emotional-wise? And really helping the client see a picture of what it could really look like if something bad did happen.
Do you normally carry with you a box of Kleenex just
it does happen. You can get to a point where you can make a client cry. I've had clients numerous times cry in sadness and cry for happiness. Seeing the hope we bring to the table too. It's not just, creating fear and pain, but, showing a client how they can eliminate their debt and have the retirement they've always dreamed about. Gives us a hope. And I've had more clients than not, cry as I'm leaving saying, thank you so much for showing us how you can help us. And that's by itself is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah. That's the greatest satisfaction that we can have in our business, right?
Absolutely.
But before you even delve into the personal situations and circumstances of clients, how do you start marketing yourself and creating your so-called network of contacts so that you'll be able to attract the right kind of clients?
Well, there's lots of different strategies to to market to the clients. The one thing I found for a lot of newer agents, especially newer agents getting started, trying to, whether they're new RFCs or new to the business in general, is really setting up your warm market as your center of influence. Not the, call all your friends and family and beg them for an appointment, like a lot of the big IMOs and FMOs and carriers teach you, but letting your friends, family know that you're here to be trusted, you're in this business, and there's certain problems that you specialize in helping them solve. So our strategy revolves around what we call our heartfelt letter. It's a simple letter that just goes over, a couple of pain points to talk about with our prospects. We send the letter, we follow up with a phone call 3 to 5 days later, depending on the postal service, how the mail's delivered, and we create a conversation. See, our business all revolves around having a conversation. No one just buys insurance to buy insurance or buy investments to buy an investment. There has to be a pain point. There has to be a conversation with an advisor at some point. So we're trying to drive all the marketing we do is to drive the person to reach out to have a conversation. And when we have that conversation, asking the emotional questions, that's where the whole process starts coming alive during those organic conversations. And when you can build those conversations and you're becoming that advisor people are desperately needing of, it opens up a whole lot of opportunities, but it builds that relationship that much more. And one example of the conversation that we have, for me, here in the States, we talk a lot about taxes, and one of the pain points I talk about is with the way our economy is going today, The government spending money hand over fist on all kinds of stuff. Who's going to be responsible to pay off that debt long term? And who does that fall to? Well, it falls to the taxpayers. So do you think taxes are going to be higher or lower in the future? And of course, people say higher. And how do you feel about that? If taxes go higher during your retirement, is that going to make your money spend down that much faster?
Correct.
What are you going to do if you run out of money? How would that affect you and your family? In a perfect world, what would you like to see happen with your assets and your savings and your retirement? So really peeling back that onion to see the pain that's going to be caused if they run out, they don't have enough, have to spend more because of taxes. It helps them see that big picture of what's going to look like for them.
Because normally people just see what's happening in the present. They couldn't project what would happen in the future, and we start drawing out all those concerns, all those little worries that they have, and somehow it will have a very major effect on their future spending capability, or even their retirement, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because again, most families spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their future.
Correct.
Right? We have that the need to put our head in the sand and just to avoid anything that's painful to us. Planning for our deaths, planning for retirement. The savings of that money. Stop living for today to plan for tomorrow. So, with people not wanting to do that, it creates a lot of controversy in them. So we have to be able to pull that information out and help them see that they can accomplish these goals. They can plan for their demise when they're not going to be here for their family. They can plan for their retirement without having to give up today.
Yes, that seems to be the decision point that they most people make, whether to enjoy life now or enjoy life later. It's presenting that you can have both if you plan it correctly, right?
Absolutely.
And you just have to be prudent in your savings and in your investments and in what you set aside for your future.
Yeah. Because no matter who you're talking to, there's never any extra money for anybody. Whether you're making $10 or $50 million, you spend up to your limits. You spend up to what you're comfortable spending, but one thing I've learned in this industry is if we want to be successful in helping families, helping people save for retirement, save to put their kids in college, to buy that dream house, we have to help them find the money to do so. Help them reposition money they're already spending. So if a client's already spending $5,000 a month on all their bills, their investments, everything, if I can come in and help them set some better priorities, ask a lot of questions, and then show them a path where they could have their, $500,000 a month life policy, put more money away for their retirement, and still have them spend the same $5,000 a month total they were already spending. I'm not increasing the spending. I'm just showing them how to maximize every dollar they have to the most efficient way possible.
And some people, they may already have certain amounts of coverage or certain insurance. How do you help them out, sort it, and see if they still have a shortfall or they have enough already?
Well, that's part of doing a really good discovery interview, and establishing some, expectations on what they have, what they need, their wants and needs matrices, and trying to, every situation is going to be different for each client. So by doing a good fact find, a good discovery interview with them, we can identify really what they need to have or what they should have, and then help them make an educated decision on if it's right for them or not.
Okay. So it's basically like helping our clients and drawing out their needs, their aspirations, and their pains, and crafting it into something that they can work for towards a future.
Yeah, help them set some basic goals, that are achievable for them. It's something they
Mhm.
can work towards without having to create a lot of stress or a lot of panic if they don't make those goals.
Mhm. Sometimes the indecision comes from uh, looking at it and being like overwhelmed, right?
Yep.
Instead of like looking at piecemeal and then doing it step by step, doing it one pot of savings at a time.
Yeah, just find, breaking it down into piecemeal,
Mhm.
taking one specific problem and let's put a solution to it. And let's keep adding on to that as we go. Because if you look at the whole picture and say, well, I need to have $5 million when I retire in 10 years,
Mhm.
you're gonna be overwhelmed. It's not attainable, or they're gonna feel it's not attainable, and they shut down.
Mhm.
But by
Yes.
helping them, breaking it down into small pieces, working on each individual step, every 6 months, every 12 months, and just slowly building it up over time, it takes all the pain and pressure away.
Normally for new new people in the industry, they would like to sell the biggest policy, to sell the most profitable policy. Like for the newbies, like how do you tell them like what are the more important things to do first and what are the important information that you need to find out from your clients?
Well, it's looking at what is the biggest problem you want to help your client solve. So
Mhm.
looking at your product or service and deciding, who suffers from that problem, who can I best serve with my product or service. From there, it's mastering that knowledge base,
Mhm.
of knowing the ins and outs of the problem so you can ask effective questions to help clients see the problem. So, like for life insurance, a lot of my clients, a lot of stuff I teach, and also I do personally, is tax-free retirement planning, helping people use life insurance to create tax-free income. So the questions I ask are, one, establishing a need for life insurance, because if there's no need for life insurance, there's no opportunity for me to sell anything, first and foremost. So the life insurance sale has to come first, and then showing them how to maximize their savings using it so they can create a lot of wealth with minimal risk is the strategy. So learning to talk about, so Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if one of you didn't come home tomorrow, how's that going to affect the other spouse financially? You know, so if he didn't come home tomorrow, what are you going to do? What would you like to see happen? If you lost his $100,000 of income, you know, how long, would you have to get one, two, three jobs to replace that? Is that what you want to have to do? You know, what would you like to see happen? What would, you know, kind of and go through those pain points, just having that conversation. But again, when it comes down to any sale, it's finding an immediate problem, something that's actionable they want to fix, and then providing a solution to it. So it's learning, whatever product or service you want to sell, and mastering the questions that go around that go around the problem that they have because of it.
When you start working with clients and look into their pain points, their aspirations, it would require a certain level of uh, familiarity or knowledge about their situations, right? So you were talking about circle of influence as the basic starting point in developing your practice. Can you tell us more about how to i- expand or improve that circle of influence so that people will be guided on which market they should tap into or which groups, which sectors?
Well, again, there's lots of different opportunities there. There's lots of opportunities in the insurance industry as a whole for anything you want to do. The center of influence market, again, is looking at your market for yourself. So for me, I'm 47. So a lot of the people I work with are usually 10 years older or 10 years younger than me.
Mhm.
And I'm looking for me, it's people that are 35 to 55, families with kids who own homes. I'm a baseball coach, so I work a lot with kids that are 18 down that play travel sports. So
Mhm.
so that's my market. That's who I want to work with. So
Mhm.
if I know that's my natural market, so I'm already in touch with these people. Okay, what can I help them do? What's the biggest problems families have? Well, they usually have a large mortgage,
Yeah.
so they're worried about if something happens to either spouse keeping the house. That's going to create a big issue.
Mhm.
Looking at, a lot of families aren't saving for retirement. They aren't saving for the next vacation, let alone retirement at all.
Yeah.
So again, learning how to find the money, and then, working a market you feel comfortable working. So again, there's no wrong answer. It's what your heart drives you to a lot of
Mhm.
times. I've been called to help families. I want to work with middle income people. I don't want to work with the poor because I can't really do a lot there. I don't want to work with the affluent because they already have advisors.
Yeah.
So working in the middle income family, it's an untapped market, and I have agents and clients I teach all over the world, from England to Australia to Singapore. Have it's everywhere, and it's the same story: is the middle income family has no one servicing them, no
Correct.
one's out there talking to the average family that makes $50,000 to $100,000 a year. They own a home. They have no insurance coverage. They put money in their 401k or their qualified savings plan. That's all they have going on, and they have no idea how anything else works or what else they should be doing. So the middle income market, in most countries, is a wide open marketplace that can, if you learn how to find the money, you can make a ton of money helping these people, but also really help those people in that marketplace.
Mhm. That's a good point. I mean, focusing on where you are, your sector, on which market, especially the middle income, which is growing because of the post-pandemic economic growth, that gives us a very uh, broad opportunity for developing our practice and developing our client base. So shifting to your involvement with the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants, how did you come about um, with the RFC group?
So way back, I think it was back 2012, 13, somewhere in that range. We had a gentleman named Wallace Cato. Forrest Wallace Cato is a publicist for the insurance industry. He's now deceased, unfortunately. But he came to me and Lou and said, "You guys need to join this organization. They stress education and ethics. They stress the same mission you do. They're more planning based, not as much insurance based at that time." And he said, you guys could come in and really help this organization branch out into the insurance and agent market, out into the traditional insurance agent, populace. So we did. So we joined it based on that notion, and then I met with Ed Morrow and Jim Lifter at the Ed. Yep, and Jack Gargan. I've met all these gentlemen through Wally, and built a lot of relationships. And now, what's 12, 15 years later, I'm heavily involved in the organization. I'm on two different committees for the virtual summit coming up in September, and also we had the Biltmore conference this past year. And so I try to do as much as I can to help the organization really get the message out, bring in new people to the organization. The virtual summit, I don't know if we talked about it all yet, September 26th and 27th. We have a 2-day virtual summit coming up. We're going to have 10 world-renowned speakers, from Dr. Sanjay Talani, Bhupinder Anand, Van Miller, Jim Ruda, a bunch of really wonderful, knowledgeable speakers on economics, on insurance, on investments, just coming in to do a 2-day class to talk about how to build your practice a better way, how to get your knowledge base up, how to ask questions, how to build relationships. and it's a free event, open to
Hmm.
all.
Okay. And I guess this would be a good background for those who are starting, those who are already in the middle of their practice as well, right? So
All
it's
skill
almost
levels,
for both.
all skill levels. The newer agents is an absolutely must attend for newer agents, because the baseline information you're going to learn from Just Van and David Kinder and Nick Royer. Um, you're going to learn a lot of different techniques, a lot of different opportunities, relationship building exercises, things that you can immediately take and use to help
Yes.
build your practice, to accelerate that growth, rather than you trying the trial and error method, which is where most of us start out with the trial and error, try this, try that, and most of it fails. But learn from experts that have proven success, and you'll pick lots of little nuggets that are going to help you transform your business.
This is an opportunity and a chance for everybody, especially those who are starting, to learn not just from the experts, but from the practitioners themselves who have gone through the painful process of trial and error. And this is what works and how you can develop your practice, right?
Absolutely, for me, it's a no-brainer. Where it's no cost. It's 2 days of intensive training. I've been to a lot of different conferences, both online, offline, traveled the world for different conferences. We did the summit last year. I was a speaker there last year, and it was a great 2 days. For me, who been in business a long time, knows a lot of the business already. I picked up a nugget from each speaker that changed my business in a good way. A new question to ask, a new technique to try, lots of little nuggets here and there that are going to be just completely career changing.
And this is the best way to share ideas, share best practices among us practitioners.
Absolutely.
So I encourage everybody to watch the to join the virtual summit, and hopefully in next year in 2025 to also join the Orlando conference, the IARFC Financial Forum. So it's going to be again a gathering of the best, and this is again another chance for learning and networking for all of us.
Absolutely. And again, it's in Orlando. It's near Disney World. It's going to be a great event. The Biltmore event was fun. This is going to be even better.
So just to close off our session for tonight, as a coach and mentor, how do you keep yourself motivated, focused, and inspired in being a solution provider for our clients?
So keeping motivation, for me, I always want to be a teacher. So going on helping people is my motivation, is to go out and be able to help and see that person. I've changed their life. I've shown them a better way to plan their retirement. I've seen the results of it, and getting those calls saying, Jeremy, thank you. You were able to help us accomplish so many things. We appreciate all you've done. But it's that, and it's, for me, I want to give back. So my motivation mostly now is through my coaching and my teaching of other agents. Because when I started the pro shop in '99, it was, I could go and help a couple thousand clients over the course of my lifetime.
Considering your the entire like years of practice that you have, like what's the most important probably advice that you can give to people who want to enter into the financial services sector?
Well, for any new agent who's learned this business, into the most experienced agents, it's, really learn how to create conversations beyond just the product, beyond the sales concept, how to have emotionally deep conversations to help clients understand what they're facing. And if we can all learn to stop selling the product, but focus on learning to ask the right questions to help the prospect see the problem they have and feel the problem, we'll all be a lot more successful. And also, you're going to make a lot more money doing that than just trying to put a square peg in a round hole. So ask the questions, the who, what, where, when, how, and whys. Focus on the emotions, not just the logic, but more on the emotional questions to help them really feel it. And when you help them feel it, they're going to want to fix it.
Yeah. So those are the most important takeaways we have. Ask your whys. Focus on your client, on what their needs are, what their pain points are, and most of all, build a relationship with them and not just a sale.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blast, and I hope that the audience learned some stuff, and I hope I was of value to them.
Yes, definitely. Your spending time with us tonight will definitely be a learning and a process for a lot of our viewers and a lot of our RFCs here in the Philippines. Again, thank you very much. And we know that we're all going into that journey of serving our clients and developing the relationships, and not just focusing on the sale, but focusing on the client themselves.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your valuable sharing, Jeremy, and for being so generous with your time. We have learned a lot about marketing tips and strategies to get started as an RFC. We truly appreciate the excellent efforts of Susan Capa, IARFC Public Relations Officer, for ensuring the success of this international series. Just a reminder to our members, active members now receive free continuing education seminars, access to the IARFC website, www.iarfc.org, where each member of good standing is recognized when searched by clients and prospects. So please be reminded that we can only use the RFC designation if we are members of good standing. For your membership renewals, please contact our EVP, Ms. Grace Escobar, at g.escobar@iarfc.org, or contact her at 0917-157-7523. That's 0917-157-7523. So contact IARFC now for your membership renewals. Our podcast episodes are shown every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. That's why it's important to follow us on Facebook. Episodes are pre-recorded and are broadcast through Facebook Live. Again, this is Boyet Benavides, looking forward to our Season 9. On behalf of our executive producer, Ms. Grace De Vera Escobar, this is the RFC Tuesday podcast saying,
it's better to be in the know than be the last to know.
Thank you very much, everyone, and see you on the next RFC Tuesday podcast, Season 9. Good night, everyone.